8 p.m. in Benakuna in the northwest region of Cameroon. It is 8 p.m. here in Douala, and it is time for the primetime news. We begin with the headlines. The question of road degradation in our towns and cities is gradually becoming a national concern. From Douala in the littoral region to Ngaoundéré in the Adamawa region, Cameroonians have been said to be suffering along the streets as circulation is becoming a nightmare for road users. A picture of such roads will be yours in the full newscast ahead. And we talk some municipal activities. Municipal and council authorities from the west and littoral regions undertake classes to update their know-how on the management and programming of the budget. This is within a 6-day training seminar that kick-started today in Douala, as 10 Minutes will be telling us in the news. And in Yaoundé 2 subdivision, holiday makers who were engaged in holiday activities rounded up this year's edition over the weekend in a ceremony which our Yaoundé-based correspondent will be giving us highlights and other stories right ahead in the news. Do not go away, we'll be right back. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us in this edition of the Primetime News. Today is the 9th of September 2019. We begin the news as we said, with roads. Roads in Douala have been described as dismal and require serious makeover. Rael Ule Abia in the following report presents the state of the roads and the reaction of some road users along the streets of Douala. Her report.
Plying roads in Douala nowadays has become a nightmare. It would be considered ironic that roads in the economic capital are this pathetic. They lack maintenance, thus the degradation. Like it is often said, it usually starts like a scratch on the tire that is not managed, and so the scratch gets bigger till it becomes this bad. Road junctions like that of Saint Michel leading to the Douala airport and seaport from the industrial zones leaves a lot of questions. Like if those concerned are aware of the state here, that of Ndokoti leaves much to be desired. The roads connecting the junctions are almost cut off, as if to say both sides don't need to be linked. Road users have only their voice to beg on government to react. The drive towards different quarters like Nyala and Brazzaville in the Douala 3 subdivision that used to go for about 5 to 10 minutes now takes about an hour. This has an effect on economic activities. Road users say not only is it time consuming, it has equally become the reason for all car and motorbikes breakdown. In other cases, it is the source of traffic holdups. Sometimes accidents occur. All of these have slowed down economic activities. Transport fare along this stretch of roads seem to be increasing by the day. The state of the roads gets worse when it rains. Hopefully, the powers that be will have to react now before things get out of proportion.
In a similar story, this time in Ngaoundéré in the Adamawa region, the government delegate to the Ngaoundéré City Council have taken measures to relieve the population of the town of Ngaoundéré from the misery they have been going through on the National Road number 1. Rehabilitation works have started to re-establish smooth circulation on this stretch of road that links the northern part of the country to the southern part of the country, as Wamba Tansi Mirabel tells us in this report.
Road users of the Ngaoundéré Church stretch of road in the Adamawa region have been experiencing a veritable nightmare. The National Road number 1 is a death trap to the local inhabitants, especially to commercial bike riders who have devised diverse shortcuts in order to move on with their daily activities. Embarrassed and confused with the melancholy of the local population, the government delegate to the Ngaoundéré Urban Council, Hamadou Dawa, decided to take the bull by the horn. He called on both transporters and the youth of goodwill to join the city council in order that rehabilitation work can be accomplished more easier and faster. The muddy layer of the road this far has been extracted and the first phase of the job has been accomplished. Works has therefore been accelerated in order that activities may return to normal. To note is the fact that the Ngaoundéré Church stretch of road existed since 1974 and interconnect with other neighboring countries, towns and quarters in the Adamawa region.
We hope that the question of road is addressed nationwide and that appropriate measures are taken to make sure that the population circulates freely. We come back here in Douala, where municipal and council authorities are meeting in Douala. They are from the West and Littoral regions for a 6-day training seminar in the pilot sample on program budgeting. The training session was launched today by the Secretary General at the Littoral Governor's Office, who represented the Governor of the Littoral. 10 Minutes was there and now reports.
A 6-day training of city and municipal councils in the pilot sample on program budget has been launched today in Douala. This brought participants of the two targeted regions, Littoral and the West region in the country. The main objective of this gathering is to train operators and managers of the city and municipal councils from the practicals to the result-based management and the planning program of budgeting in the local development. The exercise was organized by the Minister of Decentralization and Local Development to reform and solve local underdevelopment. Apart from Douala, this training session is going to be held in other regions in the country, such as Yaoundé, Garoua, and Bafoussam. The Director of Finance at the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development, Edu Olivier David, threw more light on the head of state measures to see that decentralization process is effective and the improvement on the results through a training system of that has been put in place that will last for 6 days. This seminar was presided by the Secretary General at the Governor's Office that saw the participation of top administrators in the region.
And we talk some health news. Efforts to fight the spread of malaria are being intensified in the Adamawa region. This was with the distribution of treated mosquito bed nets that were under the watchful eyes of Governor Kildadi Bukar. Wambatansi Mirabel tells us that this is the third phase of the campaign to fight the spread of malaria in the Adamawa region. Her report.
The eradication of malaria in Africa and Cameroon is not only the concern of World Health Organization, but also that of the Ministry of Public Health. It is for this reason that the distribution of mosquito-treated bed nets in the country is being spearheaded by the ministry. The third phase has just kicked off in the Adamawa region.
The Minister of Public Health has done everything possible to facilitate the distribution, and I do hope that some sites have been identified.
The regional delegate of public health in the Adamawa for 5 days will ensure that these over 780 treated bed nets get to every nooks and cranny. Governor Kildadi Bukar underscored that the government has made available all the necessary resources to ensure that the over 311 families are in possession of the nets.
The personnel of regional delegation of health will do better to drive those material to the population. I think we have means something to realize completely the distribution to the population.
He also added that if this is done, the Adamawa region will be malaria-free. This has only gone a long way to tie in with the 2019 distribution exercise slogan that all night long for all families. The main part of the job has been done. It is now left for the regional delegation of public health through their staff to ensure proper follow-up to the local population in order that the nets be used positively. The distribution campaign started on the 5th of September and will end this September 9.
And we must indicate that that was the third phase of the campaign, and we hope that the mosquito bed nets would be used for the purpose they were meant for. We come over to Yaoundé, where the 2019 edition of the Yaoundé 2 sub-division holiday activities, known as Vacances Utiles, came to an end over the weekend. The closing ceremony, sponsored by a member of parliament for the subdivision, Honorable Njomgwe Paul-Eric, was marked by the award of prizes to participants. Afese Apong was there, and this is what he brought back for the news.
From July 15 to August 17, 2019, some 710 youths from both the Francophone and Anglophone backgrounds took part in the 8th edition of the Yaoundé 2 holiday activities dubbed Vacances Utiles. This year's activities held under the theme New Dynamics, and during their one-month stay, the youths drawn from both primary and secondary schools in the Yaoundé 2 subdivision carried out activities in the domains of sports, artistic and citizenship studies. Vacances Utiles, or useful holidays, helped at instilling in these youths values such as sharing, being responsible, team spirit and solidarity. The initiative, which is that of the Member of Parliament for Yaoundé 2 Subdivision, Honorable Djumgi Paul Eric, was also an opportunity to keep youths of Yaoundé 2 away from idleness, delinquency, drugs and alcohol during the holidays.
In this program, we have received great trainings because we have patriotic trainings, lessons we understood in this campus. So Vacances Utiles was so great.
During the closing ceremony that took place in Yaoundé this weekend, prizes were given to some of the participants who distinguished themselves in the course of the one-month program. Certificates were also handed to the participants in an occasion attended by the SDO for Fundi, Jean-Claude Tila.
I think that all these gifts you have seen will allow these young people to go to school and to help parents, because as you know, I think that we are all parents here. It is very difficult for us at this moment to have all we have to do for this for these children. So let me congratulate Honorable Paul-Eric Djombe for all these gifts.
This year's edition of Vacances Utiles had 50 participants from other African countries like Ghana, Togo, Gabon, Nigeria, Mali, Senegal and Congo. Since 2011, Honorable Djumgi Paul Eric initiated this holiday program to contribute to the amelioration of the quality of learning and lessons, which would help the youths to choose and realize educative activities during the holiday and better manage their free moments.
At 13 minutes past 8 p.m., if you are just joining us, you're watching the live edition of the Primetime News here on DBS Television. We move over to the East Region, where a private nursery school in the Opanyong Division of the East Region has recently been shut down by authorities of the region. The school, identified to be clandestine, was used as an example on others functioning without official document, as Cynthia Nguemo tells us in this report.
On n'a même pas besoin de parler. Vous avez dit que lui qui m'a conseillé d'aller à la délégation.
It was a tense ambience that defined the presence of a team of the Opanyong Divisional Delegation of Basic Education alongside other authorities of the division in these school premises on school reopening. The school, identified to be called the City of Refuge Nursery School of Dimako, was slammed as clandestine and functioning unlawfully, thus is shut down. Mboke Gottlieb Ntua, SDO for Opanyong Division, present on the site, personally took the responsibility of calling on the forces of law and order to close down the infrastructure illegally functioning in his area of command. It was a strong battle of words between Sana Kamanda Mirei, the divisional delegate for basic education, and the founder of the school. She and her companions decried the poor conditions and environment of the school, added to the founder's lack of official documents permitting its functioning.
Mais vous n'avez pas de papier, vous n'avez pas d'autorisation.
Avant de commencer, je suis allé voir l'inspecteur.
He, on his part, denied all allegations, claiming he followed all necessary procedures. Whatever the case, the founder of the school has been asked to relocate the institution to a more suitable site, while parents who had registered their children in the City of Refuge Nursery School were advised to withdraw them and get them registered in recognized academic institutions.
We hope the fight extends to other regions and the fight given a real meaning of shutting down clandestine schools. We remain in the East region, still talking about education, where the government, confessional and lay private schools in the Betua 2 subdivision of that region have been granted teaching or didactic material for the ongoing academic year. Evelyn Mituge in the following report tells us that the content of this year's minimum package has been noted to be more than those of the previous years. Her report.
Popularly known as minimum package, the Betua 2 Council Hall was filled with heaps of books, packs of pens, pencils, chalk, gum, corrector, lesson notebooks, instructors, and many other didactic materials. And the head teachers were all smiles as they received the teaching aids. No school was left out. From government to practicing and lay private, the mayor made every hip unique. A testimony unanimously shared that this year's package overweighs that of previous years.
We are very happy because the quality and quantity of what we call the minimum package is not even more minimum, but it's a large packet because we are really very happy for the packet. We are waiting for it since, but it has come the way we are happy. So we don't even regret the 1 day late that it has come.
Mayor Jean-Pierre Salon, overwhelmed by head teachers' reactions, explained that he was merely fulfilling one of his promises made during campaigns, which is to promote quality education. For him, equipping teachers with these didactic materials is empowering them to graduate a more productive population. Hope is that these teachers respect their pledge and make proper use of the assistance given them so as to improve and shape the lives of children placed under their care.
From the East region, we take a leap to the far North region, where the Marwa Regional Hospital now has a new Director General to pilot its affairs. He was recently installed into office by the governor of the far North region, Medjiyawa Bakari. Jalo Buba completes that story in this report.
The Director General of the Marwa Regional Hospital, Dr. Gerard Fetue Sama, has been urged to be an exemplary administrator upon his installation by the Far North Regional Governor, Medjiyawa Bakari, to ensure continuity and good services to the population's health challenges.
For sure, we are sure that he will ameliorate the living condition and the standard of this hospital.
The ceremony to commission the hospital new boss was witnessed by both administratives and traditional leaders, with the Lamido of Marwa in attendance. The personnel of the hospital, not leaving out friends and family members from Baham in the West region living in Marwa, and a cross-section of the population of the Far North region. The event was equally characterized by presentation of gifts for both the outgoing and incoming directors. The new boss of the hospital appears to be a square peg in a square hole, since he has been in the same function at the Bafoussam Regional Hospital for 7 years.
We talk sports in this edition of the news. The former Cameroon international striker Samuel Eto'o has announced his retirement after a successful 22 years of football career. He made the announcement on his Instagram page, saying, "The end towards a new challenge. Thank you all. Big love." The 38-year-old, who played in renowned teams like FC Barcelona, Inter Milan, Chelsea, ASC Makashkala, playing for Cameroon, Samuel Eto'o's 118 caps earned him 56 goals, winning 2 national cup titles with the Indomitable Lions. He won 4 African Player of the Year awards, a record he shared with Ivory Coast Yaya Toure. The history of football will never be complete in Cameroon, in Africa, or at the international scene without the contribution of this Cameroonian-born striker, Samuel Eto'o. And in this other brief just coming in, the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, Narcisse Moelle Kombi, was on a working visit today in Douala to inspect the sporting infrastructures. He says the follow-up of the evolution of this sporting infrastructure is under the very high instruction of the head of state, Paul Biya. The minister indicated that the evolution of the infrastructure in Douala is positive. The putting into use of the stadium in Japoma, he says, is no longer a thing to doubt, for as of now, the infrastructure can be used up to 90%. Nevertheless, Minister indicated that measures are being taken, that the standards of the CAF should be respected. That is why he gave instructions such that the imminent visit of the inspection team from CAF should be convinced of the determination and willingness of the government of Cameroon to bring up to standard what is needed. This will facilitate the hosting of 2 international competitions that Cameroon looks forward to host in future. Details of this minister's visit will be brought to you in the subsequent editions of the newscast. It is here that we draw a curtain to this edition of the Primetime News here on DBS Television. The next newscast comes up at 9 p.m. in the French language with Luc-Serge Didier Nang. I'll be back again tomorrow at 8 p.m. for what would have made news. Until then, keep watching programs here on DBS Television. Goodbye, good night.